Okay, so this is something I was playing on my own game, so a lot of this is something I was just doing on my own. Yeah, so as you can see, call forth the beast. This was the altar that they were describing when they were, and they said that you needed heads for it, but I didn't definitively know where that was at, but it's just giving, obviously, warning and to inform us. So here is where it is. I see it and translate hunts my kin, like when Panda looked at it, which I need to go find it them. Here's where I just ran into him again, and he had something else to say. I forget, what did he have to say already? I was doing something else, but I can't remember what I was doing at the time. I was just... Oh yeah, that's right, I had encumbered myself. And he was giving me the warning of encumbrance, I assumed, and that's what I figured he was doing. Because you don't regain stamina when you're encumbered, as he then tells you. Because obviously you need to lighten your load, you're carrying too much, you will become encumbered, slowing you down, preventing you from regaining your stamina. Which, that's simple enough. Here's another one, which this was, you have been evaded, because I actually had the game paused. I have no idea how this happened, but apparently I was under siege when I had stepped away. And I came back to I was seized, and it was just a random few selection of animals. Granted, though, I'm guessing that'll get worse with time. Here's where I decided to actually fight the first boss, because I was just plumb curious what would happen, whether or not we're prepared, and if we had a moderate enough of a fighting chance. Honestly, I kind of expected at least maybe about like 500 health, or maybe a little more than that. But that first shot told me, okay, this guy is going to be way easier than I thought, at least health-wise. And as I started fighting him, it's not that his attacks weren't interesting. I was kind of disappointed, and it's nothing against Sora, obviously. It's just I kind of had a feeling that he might have been talking it up a little bit much. But considering I didn't have much of an issue fighting him just all by myself, more or less, this tells me that either this guy is just the first guy, so he's not that difficult to fight, and the next ones are going to get progressively harder and harder. I would assume so. But for the most part, this guy wasn't all too bad to fight. I do like the music. I definitely was jamming out to the music as it was going, and here's a stupid little grayling that ran in, trying to interject. But, more or less, I will be showing when we go and deal with him too, because most likely it's going to be a comparison to how fast we take him down, versus just by myself, and that first hit told me, okay, yeah, no, this armor definitely was a good idea. But in the same token, that also gave me I wanted to just do a little bit of melee fighting. That's why I pulled out the shield, because I wanted to fight him, at least with a little bit of melee. Because I didn't know if he had consecutive attacks, or how much those lightning attacks did. I wanted to make certain that I didn't die to those. But I definitely had some fun with it. I was actually surprised that last swing hit, but I was surprised how big a hitbox he had, too. But that was the first boss defeated, and again, I will show it when all three of us fight it, when we do that next. And there's the antlers and corresponding components, and now he's going to inform me about going to the altar, which, yeah, that was a fun walk back. I was just double checking, make sure there wasn't anything else he dropped. Yee, the gods are smiling upon you. Let us go. I had thrown it in the hotbar. It also gave me the option to try and select it like with the seeds, where it said, use the head on what? And I thought that was funny myself, because it's like, yeah, what the hell am I going to use it on? And here's where we slap it on the hook. As you can see, grant the mighty stag flows, stag flows through you. Your ability to move around is improved on land or water, which those aren't half bad, and the effect duration is 300 seconds, so 5 minutes. And here he's telling me about the effect that he grants. Use it in times of need. Next target dwells within the dark black forest. Go there, explore the lands, and uncover the treasures and resources. The elders await. Or the elder awaits, whatever. I activated it just to see if it took effect, but I didn't notice anything on my run back to my base that I am building. And this isn't my current base. This is just the one I had temporarily started out on the water. It's not working out, and I actually found a way better spot that I'm going to be going and relocating myself to afterwards. But I was just inspecting and checking out the pickaxe, which it's nice to finally get a pickaxe. I was really happy about that, so I could finally get some stone-related stuff, and plus even possibly get better armor. And I also did notice that the wood, if you put it in the water, it actually withers. And here he's just telling me about the rich resources like copper and the tin. So that's telling me, do I actually have to go digging or just like mine up various resources? But I'll figure that out here pretty quick. This next part, he was just talking about how I went to go and find, not stumbled on, but I had found some ore, and I needed to go process that because I was in the process of testing here. Because I was over here in the Black Forest, and as you can see, a horde of these guys, I'm not sure how they showed up, or if this was an attack, and I'm not sure entirely how the attack system works just yet, but I'm pretty sure it works based on just random intervals, and they just attack you wherever you're at, I'm assuming, because this mob just came out of nowhere. And I think the worst part about it is when a shaman showed up, or maybe this isn't the situation where a shaman showed up, but I could be wrong. That skeleton showed up, and the fact that they just killed that skeleton that fast told me right then and there, okay, yeah, I'm not really wanting to try and get into a melee with these guys, because while I know how easy these guys are individually, with a massive swarm and all of them just dogpiling at once, it can spell disaster pretty fast. And this isn't the only time this has happened, too. And it wasn't from that portal over there, either. One of their summoning portals. I actually avoided that pretty regularly. And I always kept my distance, because these guys came from the opposite direction when I started fighting these guys, more up the hill, because I was just looking for a copper deposit. I barely started mining it, because I had collected some tin from the last cut, and I could come back to try and collect more. But after I got done fighting and killing these guys off, I ended up getting another small group of them with both a brute and a shaman, and they dragged over a goddamn bear. See, there's where the shaman showed up. I remember there was a shaman that showed up at one point. Thankfully, I was able to deal with him quickly and got him out of the way before he actually could interject anything. But man, was it annoying. Because after that attack, which that shaman then proceeded to destroy my boat, which annoyed me, so I made sure I killed that shaman before he got away, because he really insisted on destroying my boat. After I found a spot that was close to the shore and I could swim across to the other side of the river without drowning, thankfully, I went back to my new base, which wasn't the one you saw on the shore, because that was more of a shack. I decided to relocate, though I will be building that up for a more smaller location later on. That is my plan, but I will be dealing with that later. But anyways, I was back up on top of a hill where I was actually building my base, and I had another one of these swarms show up, and I got caught in I can't remember how I died the first time. I can't remember. But it had to do something with the bears. No, why the hell was it bears? No, I got swarmed in a corner when I ran around a corner, and I got swarmed and died. And then with like what few was left, because I was low on health by that point, they for some reason have a fixation with beehives. I don't know why. And it's your apiaries, because they went out of their way to go destroy my apiary, and then they left. They didn't even bother attacking anything else on the base, which I didn't understand. And then it happened again a second time after I kept building and working, and they did the same thing and fixated on going for my apiary for some reason, and then they just all split. I don't get why. But here's after where I got done fighting these guys. It was just cleaning everything up from all the resources, because it's like, I'm not going to waste the resources. There was plenty that I can collect these for later. But I was thinking of going back to the copper deposit, because there was the copper deposit up this hill is where the horde came from. So I'm like, you know what? Let's not waste the time or chance if more have already reappeared. Because there was this little tower that does come into view. That tower right there is where they all came running from. And there was a copper deposit right there. So I just said, you know what, let's go back to that other one that I had discovered a little earlier while I was in the midst of fighting these guys. And see, because here's the copper deposit, and that's when I saw that bear show up. And it's not the same bear that got lured over later. This was one that was hanging out on the shore, which I did try fighting. I had a destroyed building that I was able to hide on and shoot at it with arrows. Didn't really work out well, so I gave up on fighting it. But after I saw that bear show up there, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm content. I'm just gonna go to the back down to my boat and try and get away. Okay, here I had to run around for quite a bit trying to just find this burial chamber. I just call them crypts because they basically are damn near. But anyways, I had to run around in the Black Forest for a good long while before I finally found one of these. I had found like 3 or 4 troll caves before I even found this. And I walked into one just out of curiosity when I was hunting for it real quick, and I immediately turned back around. I should have recorded it, but I didn't actually do this till after this instance when I'm like, what is in a troll cave? I looked in, saw one 1-star troll with a very narrow hallway, and I said, nope, I'm gone. But this is where I was collecting these materials to grit those heating blocks to make a smelter. The soldering core. My dyslexia is not liking me right now. But I later realized I needed more. Because in this one, I find a total of 6 of them. And unfortunately, I didn't realize I figured I only needed like maybe 1 or 2. No, you need at least 5 for both a smelter and a kiln. So I had to go find another one of these afterwards. And often than not, a lot of time when I was going through this, I was contemplating whether I wanted to keep going. Because I didn't know what kind of situation I would run into. And I would always have my shield up as I'm walking through for the most part, because I didn't know what to expect. And I was, like I said, I was constantly contemplating whether or not I wanted to keep risking and going. But I did eventually find another crypt and go through it that one and get the rest of the material I needed. It had exactly 4, which was nice. And what was annoying too is sadly I did die at that crypt, but it was annoying because a skeleton archer was stuck behind the door, aimed the opposite direction of me, but still was able to shoot and kill me, which I thought that was annoying, but it is what it is. But, like I said, a lot of the times throughout this, I was contemplating, because that archer instantly made me contemplate whether or not to keep going, because I was debating it, but I tried going through the door to see if that worked. But with the other crypt, which was interesting, that one I had to go up and down constantly in that one, and in just one of the 3 sections, it was like that, where I had to go, there was like 2 sets of stairs that went down, one that actually went into a chamber, and then went back up, and then went up into this little bit of a roundabout. But yeah, I was exploring over here, because I figured they would eventually get through that door, and I was pressing my luck here, but I figured I'd explore these 2 this section over here first, to see if there was anything else I could explore before challenging that, and I was like, god damn it, I literally got nothing else I can do. And as I was collecting these mushrooms, I was contemplating whether or not to do it. I saw that, I was seeing how some of them were wandering away. I'm not sure what they were doing specifically. I crouched here to see if they would maybe lose interest. But that unfortunately didn't particularly happen from what I could tell. So I figured, you know what? Let's see what happens. I'll open up the door. I'll give it a shot. If I'm gonna die, I'm just gonna leave. Because I figured I'd do a couple strikes, block like that, and then try and work my way through it and see if I can. Because there's a second archer around the corner. When I saw that ghost, that actually got me concerned. And that's when I'm like, nope! Because I didn't know if that ghost would come through the door or not. It didn't, which was a surprise. And I was prepared for that, because I knew just run back to this door and just shut the door. I was surprised the ghost didn't come through the doors, which I figured it would have been able to. But again, here is the second part where I was just contemplating to leave. But I couldn't. I was like, you know what? Let's give it a chance. I'll let them move away so I can let this guy out real quick. And then I'll just try and whittle him down as I go. Yeah, because here's where I was contemplating again if I should just not risk it, because the ghost, I didn't know what to expect with it. Okay. And come on. Yeah, because I was trying to see if I couldn't close on that skeleton, because I didn't see the 2 stars till afterwards, but I could tell that was at least a 1-star skeleton. So I figured if I can at least isolate these 2, I can deal with it pretty easily. This ghost wasn't as bad as expected, but it's definitely just flat out a lot stronger than a skeleton. Even that 2-star wasn't as strong as this guy.
I was concerned at first, but after like the first strike on the skeleton, then I'm like, okay, this isn't as bad as that ghost just was. But I did want to risk getting hit, because I knew this thing probably hit like a truck. I was actually surprised that it lost interest in me and it wasn't alerted anymore. I was waiting for one more health, but I got too impatient and just wanted to try. I was kind of confused why it was doing that, so I figured why not shoot it a little bit with a bow, but it didn't work out all the best. But in the same token, I didn't want to risk it because I didn't know how much damage it would do. Because just because like I said, I knew this thing wasn't going to be as strong as that ghost. I keep wanting to say Wraith. But I just wanted to make sure that I didn't get killed or anything like that. Because it was a long walk back if I got killed. Oh, and I did find some fine wood. Obviously, I don't have the means of building it yet. But I was fighting a brute one time because I got stuck in a tower, and I happened to break a table. So I got access to some of the recipes associated with it. But hopefully after I get, which I will show my base off here in a little while. But after I get the kiln and the furnace fully going, well, the smelter, because I have both a kiln and a furnace built, but I haven't done anything yet because I wanted to get some ore first beforehand, so that way I at least had some on hand. But here's where I found these three, which again, I was surprised I found as much as I did. I was actually quite surprised, especially when I got to this burial chamber, like an actual proper burial chamber, just how expansive this crypt was. Because when Sora was running through the first one, I didn't really get to check out anything like with that skeleton spawner. Or I guess that bone pile, whatever it's called. I was actually surprised how big these crypts could become. But yeah, I wanted to at least show this one off in its entirety for the most part, because Sora had gone through the other one basically. It was really tiny, but I still would have liked to have experienced it. I was actually tempted to see if I couldn't grab one of those ornate shields.
Yay! It is completed. I can go home now. Hooray!
I don't know. And here's the smelter I was talking about that I built after the fact. Because you have built a smelter to deposit raw ore into the furnace and use it to melt away all impurities, leaving you with a bar of refined metal to work at the forge. You need coal to fuel the smelter. Coal can be produced by building a kiln and loading it with wood. Which is when I realized, god damn it, I still need more of those. Which means I have to go back and get more. While I was exploring one of these caves, I did discover one of the identification sigils. So I figured I would make sure, because I had found a couple more that had already identified the same location as this one obviously does as well, way up here in the north. So I figured I'd just have this just to make sure. And here is where I am in the process of setting up the portals. After I unlocked it and was gathering cores, because that one crypt I was in, I kid you not, I found 12 in that one specific crypt. So I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And the portals are a great way to fast travel between areas. Of course, you can build one and you have to name it, and it'll automatically be connected to the other one. So that's what I proceeded to do. I built this one first, which afterwards I built this one in my warehouse/storage, which it's kind of like a carpenter building, I guess, but more or less just like a general storage, which don't worry, I will be showing it off here in a bit, because I wanted to make sure that it was all good and ready to go. But as you can see, I've got the portal set up, and it is, which I was actually kind of surprised about the visuals, and I was curious how long it would take to load. But thankfully, it's not too long of a transition, so it'll make it a lot easier ferrying back resources back and forth from here, which was an absolute pain in the ass to do that. Here's a bear I was fighting after I had built up a lot of my armor and stuff after a while, and this bear had come running out after me because I built a cart over there, which is really nice to have that. I can haul around a lot more resources, and I have to run back and forth as frequently too, which is nice because I've made some bronze nails, and that's how I unlocked that. So I figured, because I have actually fought a few bears off camera, but that's just, most of it's just because I got trapped in the situation. I was more focused on just trying to survive at the time rather than thinking about recording. I actually stopped so I could show off this fight, because the first two fights, one, I was just like, you know what, let's see if I can actually win against the bear. And it was an absolute battle of attrition the first time around fighting a bear, but now that I have better equipment, or at least more developed, I guess, equipment, and I've had experience fighting bears, this one wasn't as bad of a fight. I definitely got sloppy in a few spots, but overall, I would say I'm doing at least semi-better. Yay. One more bear defeated. Moving on. Now back to my harvesting.
Here's one of the many times when I was working on my base and the forest was moving. Attack would occur, and I hadn't shown it yet, so I figured I would at least show this one.
Here is another part I kept forgetting to show, which, to be fair, this is actually only the second time I've ever actually broke one of these, where it's just literally a Grey Dwarf ritual point, kind of like the skeletons, which I don't even know what that anything definitively does, besides just constitute more of them. And the only other time I actually fought one of these, because every other time I've just simply avoided them. It was just a few strikes, and I was actually surprised that these were to break. Here is another attack that happened while I was in the middle of expanding and relocating my forge for my base. So, after going through a few of the crypts that I have discovered and started going through, I've collected a few resources so far. It has bolstered my confidence, probably to a stupid degree, to challenge a Tor Cave. Let us begin. I am probably going to die here. I have no idea. Because all I saw last time was that one-star troll, and then I ran away. Granted, though, it didn't detect me last time. I'm missing. Obviously, this ain't gonna work. That is not what I wanted, but okay, game. Yeah, no. Okay, and that's what I figured would happen. But I don't have a freaking... I don't know if a spear would work, or if it does the stupid crap like with the first spear variant. I have no idea, where I just would then raise up the pike and then strike forwards, or what. But, yeah, no. Obviously, that ain't gonna work. Attempt number 2, because I'm suicidal. If I sit down, do I regenerate faster, maybe? I'm not sure. Whatever. Okay, back to the troll cave. Bye-bye! Oh, that was... Okay. I had a feeling I could get away with that, but I won't do that. I won't do that. Oh, okay, it'll just auto-water. Hello! Oh, these are tiny. This guy doesn't have a log. I'm actually surprised I didn't get hit there. You know, I'm surprised he's not caving down the cave. I'm surprised I didn't get hit. Okay. I dodged, but okay, I guess it didn't register that time. Fucking crotch-a-lord. Apparently he didn't recognize me. Man, you suck at aiming. Yeah, screw you, testicle dragger. Nope. Okay. Put that back on. That. Alright, let's murder this fucker. Apparently I'm in shelter here. Whoa! I dodged, but okay, I guess not. And in the crotch! Yeah, what the hell? Come on. Die! Yeah, fuck you. Oh yeah, 2 chests. This was not worth going for, honestly. A little bit of money, but overall not much. Okay, they got stuff laying around in here too. Okay, no, these places are worth procuring resources from. There's more materials, more amber. Okay, so overall, kind of eh. Not all that great, sadly. Oh, here's more amber pearls. Okay. There's a ton of valuables to sell, at least from what I was told by Sora. But again, I still haven't found the merchant that he talked about. So I have no clue if they're worth it or not. I mean, for sellable resources, I definitely got quite a bit, so I can't complain there, but eh, oh well.